Welcome back, Super Soul Sisters. Okay, I thought I would talk about choose different shoes today, simply because I got the news that our beloved Tina Turner has passed on, and I don't know, she had a beautiful impact on the world. She was an incredible lady, really, wasn't she? She simply was the best. She's simply the best. I mean, I've got such good memories of growing up with singing those songs, and she just rocked it. And what I love about her is that there was a saying in one of the write-ups that, early on, quite early on, a few years ago, she was being interviewed, and she said what she realized as she was getting older was that it's not what happens to you, but how you handle it that makes the difference, right? And you just got to choose differently, haven't you? And this is one of the things that I was saying with this, everything that I teach you. I can't change what's going to happen to you. I can't change how life is going to be to you. We are going to have our challenges. We are all going to get our curveballs. We've all got our lessons that we can learn, and or choose not to learn, whatever the case might be. But if we can ride those waves a lot easier, how much better would that be? So that's what NLP is all about. This is what all this coaching stuff is all about. It's how can you ride those waves? How can we look at things in a different way? How can we have it where life is a lot easier for us on this journey? And also so that we can get clear about what is working for us and what isn't, right? And so when we choose differently, which is exactly her. I mean, you look at her life. I mean, her husband was obviously, I think that's no secret. Everybody knew that, she was in a very abusive, physically abusive relationship. And he was not a kind man. And look how she managed to have the courage to get out of that situation. So, it gives hope to people who think that there isn't a way out. And there's some people who would argue, oh, look, she had money, so she could do it. But honestly, it doesn't make any difference whether you got the money or not. It's about being brave enough to actually do something like that. Now, I'm not, that's just a part of her journey that was challenging. I mean, I think she's had cancer, and she's had all sorts of health issues. So she lived a very good out there kind of life, didn't she? I mean, she was amazing. And it's like, how can we make the most of what we actually have? And it's how you look at things. It's back to that whole thing of like Wayne Dwyer's thing of, if you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at will change, won't they? And how do we choose differently? Because it's so easy to take the easy route out. I look at it and I go, well, it would be easier to say, oh yeah, it is what it is, and poor me. And it's a lot easier to take that on board. But my thing is that the negative impact of staying in that lingers for a long period of time. Because if you go, oh well, if I'm going to play the victim, if I'm going to have my victim shoes on, and I'm going to go, well, I choose to accept that this is a hardship, and it's poor me, and this is going to be a nightmare, and how there's a payoff. You've got your payoff shoes on there. There's a reason for you doing that. And if we can get what the payoff is in NLP, we know now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that there's a reason. The payoff is outweighing the payoff of staying miserable or accepting that victimhood or that negativity thing happening to you. The payoff is bigger than by being miserable than it is by not being miserable. So if you find out what it is, so say for example in that case, it's like, look, she could easily have said, oh poor me, I used to get battered, it's hard, I can't make it out there in the real world because he was telling me that I was useless and I was no good. She could have gone down that road. Now, if you keep telling yourself that story, there's a very good chance that you're not going to succeed. And she took the opposite. It was like, right, it's happened. I've had the courage to let it go, and I'm going to focus on the positive. And the positive attracted more positive, and then she landed up becoming a tremendous, even more tremendous success. I mean, she was already successful anyway back then, wasn't she? But she really went to a whole new level. So you see how by you know, choosing differently in that moment, she chose. It's like those the pathway, the fork shoes that I talk about. It's like you've got two paths, which way are you going to go? And if you choose to go on one road, then, you know, to the other road, obviously you're going to land up, one's going to be happy and one's not. So when we consciously go, I've got a choice here, I've got to choose differently, haven't I? Things could be different. So I love the other one that I always loved as well, where it's also how you look at it. It's like, I choose to be optimistic about the things. Like, it's like I immediately look for the silver lining. I go straight to what can I learn, rather than sitting in the pity party. So one of the lessons that I loved, I remember Trent Shelton talking about this, and it was like how, and I was talking to my son about this the other day actually, how, you know, when he was an NFL player or learning to do basketball when he was a kid, and all these doomsday, all the crayfish in the pot that I talk about, where like they were saying, you'll never make it, you're a nobody, everyone and his grandfather wants to learn how to be, you know, a top basketball player. Do you know how competitive it is with NFL, etc., etc.? And, you know, and then he gives one specific example of where he said, somebody said to him, okay, look, you're not, the chances, do you know, there's like 98% chance of you not getting in. Like 98% of people don't succeed, or it was 95 or 98. It was like a lot. And he literally turned around and said, well, thank God I'm in the other 2%. And I just think that's fantastic. You know, I was just like, I just love that. So it's like, what are you choosing? Choose different. You can choose to be the 98%, or you can choose to be the 2% in that story, couldn't you? You could choose to be the victim with Tina Turner, or you can choose to be positive and go, do you know what? I know it's going to be tough, but I'm going to make it on my own. And look how much better off she was for doing that, you know? So your lives can be so much better. You know, life happens to you, not, you know, sorry, life happens for you, not to you. The complete opposite, Vicky, get with the program. It's always happening for you, not to you. So it's like, what can we choose? Choose different. Put your choose different shoes on. If you're finding you're going into the pity party, if you're going in a downward spiral, ask yourself, how can I choose differently? What am I choose? You know, put your choose differently shoes on and literally consciously think, okay, this is not working for me. I'm spiraling. How can I choose different to what I'm doing now? Because obviously what I'm doing is not working. Okay, so choose different. Hope you found that useful. Your shoes, your path, your way. Namaste.